All right, cool. We
Very
are
out of it today.
Hey, that's all right, man. It's a Sunday. It's a holiday weekend. I understand. We got 2 questions from chat. The first one comes from Bearded Corvus. Epos, for a single gaming streaming PC, would you go with Intel or Ryzen?
Probably Ryzen.
Really? Okay, why? I'm interested in this answer as well.
More cores for your money. Like, okay, so traditionally before I got hashtag sponsored by Intel or whatever, which I'm not even at the moment, but before I had money and YouTube fame, I was pretty much only using AMD because I was poor and that was what was available to me. And even back in the FX days, like I got my AMD FX 9590 for like $150 on a Black Friday sale. It took me months to figure out how to cool the damn thing, but it was 8-core CPU. It ran really well. Like it did everything I wanted. And the same thing sort of applies to Ryzen in that like for your money, you're getting a lot more. If you're into specific like niche like needs with regards to what you're doing, you can get more headway out of the higher core clocks of Intel. And there's generally things are more stable on Intel. Things are, more optimized for that, especially since Ryzen has just kind of kept popping out stuff. Like they've just kind of kept popping out new generations really quick. And so it's been not super stable. But if I were just like going in, assuming you don't have bukudos of money, I'd probably say Ryzen just because you can get a lot more cores and you can do thread management in Task Manager so that you're only gaming on so many threads and only streaming on so many threads. You have a little bit more wiggle room, assuming you're not trying to do craziness. But even
do you have any videos on that?
I don't, just because, well, in my sponsored 8700K streaming video that I did last year, I show how to do the CPU affinity stuff so that you can like separate OBS and your game, because I was like, yeah, this is great, but you're going to get more performance by doing this anyway. And that was the little jab that works on any processor. But I don't have a dedicated one just because I was kind of waiting on actually getting my hands on some Ryzen stuff just to like target it at that. And then that never happened. My wife's rig that I built is running on Ryzen, but I'm not going to take it over to do a video on it or anything, and just haven't really gotten around to it.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I got a Ryzen 1700X for my streaming PC, and it's great other than I can't quite push 900p 60 FPS streams if I wanted to.
Well, and that's the thing, is I don't recommend it as a dedicated streaming PC, only if you're trying to do both in one.
Really? So you'd recommend Intel for streaming PCs?
Because well, especially the newer Ryzen that is like the newer Ryzen that is so many thread counts and stuff, like X264 is only optimized to use X number of cores per resolution, and so most of the higher core count stuff is a waste on X264 streams. And if you're trying to do both on the same PC and on CPU, I mean, I recommend using NVENC anyway, especially on the modern cards. Like just do it. But if you're trying to do X264, the higher thread counts of Ryzen will help you out in that regard because you can balance your game and stream better. But if you're on a dedicated PC, the faster core counts of Intel, or the faster core clocks of Intel, and the more you can do with it and the further you can push it is a lot better overall, but it is more expensive.
Okay.
But I don't recommend buying Ryzen. Like there's always weirdness of like, yeah, the 1700, especially the 1700X. That's like a really common one where I guess people started with that as their gaming PC and then they upgraded and they want to use it as a streaming PC. They can't quite push it. Like it has like a really weird ceiling of where you can push it compared to the 7700K, the 8700K, the previous generations of Intel. And so I generally recommend going Intel for that. But
I was actually pretty disappointed when I picked up a 2017 model of an 8-core CPU that was supposed to be like this monster, and then I got it all set up, and this is on like a brand new Windows 10 install, barely anything running. I'm like, okay, let's see if I can do 900p 60 FPS 6000 bit rate, and my CPU usage spiked to like 90%. I'm like, really? Because all I was hearing about was people that were buying these, not even the 1700X, but the 1600 and the 1700 chips are like, yeah, I push out 1080p 60 streams all day long. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I got it. I'm like, you motherfuckers, you're liars. And that wasn't really the case.
There was someone in the OBS Discord that's been setting up their 1700X for a streaming PC, and they're all happy that they can run medium-ish at 1080p. They're like really happy that they accomplished that. And then Dr. Lupo tweeted that he was doing slow on the same processor and he couldn't figure out. And then the guy's just like, I can't get close to this. How the hell is he doing it?
Right.
And it's like, if you like extreme overclock it, you can sort of get it, but they have weird, just like weird limitations there. But honestly, my big recommendation is for people to stop trying to push 1080p. Unless you're playing at 1080p. Like and most people aren't these days, or at least like most streamers. Like if you're already having a high-end setup, you're playing at 1440p. That's a weird division to get to 1080p. And that's part of the reason my Apex streams look so good, is I am doing clean integer scaling from 1440p to 720p. And I'm pushing I was doing 6, but 6 to 8 megabits per second is all YouTube even allocates for their videos. Like that's why it looks so good. I'm pushing what YouTube pushes for their videos for 720p.
Okay.
But you get once you're past like 720p low bitrate streaming, like you get way more gains out of little things like clean integer scaling, using the right scaling mode, and color chroma subsampling, those things, than you do just I'm gonna push 1080p or 900p. Doesn't make any sense. What is a multiple of 900p? Are you running at like 854
Don't ask me.
by 450? I
think it's just a matter of getting a little bit more resolution.
People want to feel like they're closer to 1080p, and that means something. Which, for games that rely on like crisp, tiny details or text, 100%. And most of those games are slower moving anyway, so you should be able to push it. And I mean, you can stream at 4K on Twitch if you're doing desktop stuff. I've watched 4K coding streams. I've streamed 1440p editing streams. When you don't have a whole lot of high action stuff, it works. Go as high resolution as you want. But for action games where you're not trying to read the little text or whatever, you don't want to push just higher resolution. Means it's lower quality, right? And it's harder to push.
Yep. I remember watching so many people, Apex, even H1Z1, people trying to push 1080p 60 FPS H1Z1 streams, and I'm like, and you try to be nice about it. You try to be nice about it, and you're like, dude, you understand that what you see in your OBS preview is not what we see. You understand that, right? And it's always taken as like a slight
1080p, man.
I'm telling you, man, it looks fine. And of course, like their OBS preview is this big on one of their monitors. But yeah, I've gotten
show the compression anyway. Like they're just like, no, it doesn't look soft anymore. It's fine. But like even on my crazy i9, like I can't really do 1080p slow. I can do 720p slow, but I can't do 1080p slow. And so that's not a realistic expectation for anyone. And that's the big thing with me pushing NVENC. And I'm not paid to say it or anything, but the big thing that everyone harps on of X264 looking better than NVENC is if you're running X264 on medium or slow. And the most of the people who are listening to that advice and jumping in can barely run it at very fast while they game. At that point, even like 9 series NVENC looks better.
Right. Have you ever seen people talking about how broadcasting on a slower preset, you're way more susceptible to buffering and freezing for people watching on mobile?
Yes. And it's come up a couple times in the OBS Discord, and I haven't seen that anyone really knows why, other than there's a couple flags. So the CPU usage presets don't just spend more time processing the image. There's also a lot of different flags and options that you can actually manage yourself with the custom X264 command box. And so you can actually push X264 slow easier if you change what's called trellis. And I have no clue what it does, but if you change it back to 1, say trellis equals 1, it's a lot easier to go and still mostly looks the same. But changing those presets changes all these extra options. And so one of those options on like slower and placebo and sometimes slow changes how it decodes it, because all of these extra configurations also changes how you decode the stream, which is a big part in viewer performance. And so one of those flags, mobile decoding just isn't happy with, but I don't have an answer as to why. And for the most part, there's no one needs to stream below medium. Like no one cares. Medium's like the perfect happy medium.
And plus half of the viewers are watching on a 4-inch screen anyways.
It's
actually great.
They're just barely paying attention.
Right. And they're, got you on audio only. And speaking of audio, Gigantic Jen had a part 2 of his question that I'll ask first. What is more important, audio or video?
Audio. Always audio. Whether you're doing videos or streams. Always.
100%. Yep. I can put up with shitty audio, or shitty video, but if your audio is bad, because here's the thing with like video, you can have it to where it gets blocky and the bitrate drops, and then it goes back to happy zone, and then it goes back to shitty, and you can kind of deal with the up and down roller coaster. If you
can't hear you,
right, if you have bad audio, it's bad audio through and through. It sounds terrible from start to finish. And there's never a time where I've been watching something and it has gone so bad that I physically go, oh God.
Yeah. Whereas audio can literally like physically hurt your ears.
Yes, it makes you wince, the grimacing. It's a totally bad experience. So, you know, there's this whole argument of stream with what you have. And I say that, but also spend $100 on a good microphone and just do yourself a favor.
Yeah. Or learn to use like a noise gate or whatever on your headset microphone, or move it away from your microphone so you're not blowing into it constantly. And that's the thing, is audio quality isn't necessarily sounding like we do right now. Like,
right.
Where, you know, you don't need to sound like a YouTuber to have good audio quality. And you can even have clipping or whatever. Like you look at most of the streamers that scream all the time, like they're always clipping. That's mostly fine. Like it drives me nuts personally, but like I put up with it. I put up with it when I watch Doc or whatever because it's funny. But it's the little things like breathing into the microphone, plosives, having weird static hiss in the background, having one of those microphones that still picks up when you get a text message and
yeah, that frequency little glitch.
Or like, yeah, or really loud PC fan noise or whatever. Like it's those little things, or just like sounding like you're in a cave, which was a time I couldn't watch Doc for a while, was because he was in a cave.
His empty room.
Yeah, that sounded horrible, and I just couldn't put up with that. But you know, it's little things like the physics aspects of it that matters a little bit more than sounding like you're a YouTuber. What's up, guys? We're gonna smash the like button. But yes, people will click away immediately for bad audio. People will not necessarily click away for bad video.
Right.
They're here to be entertained, not to see the crispest details on a video game they could boot up themselves.
Good point. All right, second part to Gigantic Gent's question, the last one of the night. Do you think that since you started, the quality that is expected of Twitch streamers nowadays is much more than when you started streaming or in YouTube?
Oh yeah, in every way. Like when I started, I was watching people stream Call of Duty 4 with Wirecast or Flash Media Encoder at 2 megabits per second. That was considered like a high quality stream. With no face cams, there was no such thing as an overlay, really. Like sometimes people would put up like an image, like a logo or something, but like we didn't have the production value we have. Like the stream feed we have now, like this didn't exist.
Right.
I mean, it did for like TV shows, but no one thought to put that in a video game live stream or, you know, a independent live stream. And so now there's so much, and especially even for me, like what I want out of a viewer, like there are some more casual streams I'll watch. Like I mentioned Shroud, like he's boring as hell, but I watch it for the gameplay. But then you have people like Doc or even this live stream where it's just like you need like your be right back screens and your dual view streams when something's going on. You need, if you have a green screen, don't just put yourself over the gameplay, like have a reason to use the green screen. That drives me up a wall. Like people who just want to float above their gameplay, like that just looks bad to me. Like I'd rather see your room and your personality. So give me a cool frame or graphic or something involved. And just, and it's frustrating because the added production value gives you more opportunities to mess it up and to make it look bad. Right. And so for a lot of people, I think if you're just starting out, to keep it simple and to keep it focused on making it fun and entertaining. But at the same time, as you grow, you need to start thinking of more creative ways to live stream and integrate different things. And I think that is pretty much a requirement at this point because LOL, I live stream video games is no longer like a selling point for anybody in 2019. It barely was in 2009, like when that was new. Like it's no longer a new concept. And so many people just want to market themselves on that. And I get like, if you're doing casually, go ahead, but you got to find something to offer either visually or experience wise, or expect to be chilling with 5 viewers forever. And if you're cool with that, be cool with that.
100%.
By all means, hang out with your friends, stick with that. But then don't sit there and complain that you're not being handed viewers or something because you are not trying.
Right. You can't just play video games on Twitch. Right. And you're never, if you want, you can, but you also just need to make it, like, if you want to make it a successful story, you're going to have to go way beyond.
Yeah.